Interesting. Now, of course, in the first 24 hours after President Biden's announcement that he is dropping out of the race, Vice President Harris's new campaign has raised millions and millions of dollars. I think the final tally was somewhere just over $80 million from grassroots donors in 24 hours. Does that number signal to you that maybe her likability is evolving and her electability is better? I mean, I know you published this piece yesterday, so you saw these numbers. So I imagine
I had friends who were on the call.
And the call you referenced, I just want to be very clear, was that the Zoom call with 44,000
Yes.
other Black women that's made headlines around the world? So there is excitement. I guess my question to you is there enough excitement?
We'll find out in November. I mean, I say in this piece, Maggie, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm very clear about that. So I make it clear in the piece that my hope is that in November, late November, all my friends who don't like this piece and didn't agree with it are able to tease me about how wrong I was. But guess what? A few years ago, they weren't teasing me because I was wrong about the possibility of Donald Trump winning the first time. So that's why I think this time people really need to take a step back and have some of the tough conversations that were not had before, because people were so swept up in the emotion of making history with the first female president. Remember, those magazine covers had been printed celebrating Hillary Clinton as the first female president. And I now look back and think that if some tougher questions had been asked, not just about likability, but actually the numbers of what the data was telling us of what people thought and why, I think there'd be less PTSD, as you point out. And that's what I'm concerned about this time, is that those numbers are great, the call is great, the fundraising is great. Guess what? She was one of the best fundraisers out of the gate when she ran for president last time. And everyone saw how that turned out. So I think that's my concern. My question is, that's great if the same people who were supporting her before and enthusiastic before are equally enthusiastic this time. My question is about the people who she has not reached yet. Because here's my theory. I actually think people are not looking at the big picture of the data. I think they're so focused on the voters that Trump can't win without remembering he actually doesn't have to win a lot more voters. All he has to do is suppress turnout and enthusiasm for her. And if he can find a way to pick off some of those people who don't like her for whatever reason, and convinces them either to stay home or to vote for Bobby Kennedy, which is some of the stuff I've heard, then he still wins the race. I think that's what people are forgetting, is that, well, which Black women are going to go and vote for Trump? That doesn't actually have to happen if they're just not enthusiastic. And he suppresses turnout even just a little bit, as we've seen from the last couple elections. That can make a difference.